So the next speaker we have on this stage is Mansoor Hamayun, co-founder and CEO of Bboxx, and an enterprise changing the lives of millions in 11 African countries, building startups that solve big problems and unlock human potential with technology. Standing ovation for Mansoor, please.
Hi guys, thank you Tilly for the introduction, and my name is Mansoor Hamayun. I am really pleased to be here today, and I'm honestly all about stories and random connections. So let me start with one random story to begin with. How did I end up on this stage? So, I was on the beach in Costa Rica, 1 a.m. in the morning, enjoying the breeze, enjoying the slight Latin music in the background. And then Kathy and Martin showed up. They're like, come to Prague. I'm like, yes, let's go to Prague. Come in November. I'm like, oh, that sounds a bit cold, but sure, let's do that too. Give a presentation. I'm like, oh no, that sounds like work. But then they convinced me with the following sentence, which was that actually it's about youth empowerment, and it's about inspiring students to create something bigger for the future. And that's exactly where I was lucky enough to be able to start my own company as a student that has grown to date. But you know what I want to do today, and this is the thing I really enjoy about speaking to young people. I will first show you the polished version of the story. You know, the marketing version of the story, right? That is perfect, there's no issues, everything works beautifully. Then what I want to do is to tell you the real story, the struggles of a startup, what happens in the background, the friendships, the enemies, the intrigue, the drama. And hopefully from that, you will get a little bit inspired, and maybe one or two or 10 of you will start a company as well with your good friends. So let me start with the marketing version. And to do this in a pitch-perfect manner, there is a video of 2 minutes. Hopefully this works. Yes.
Back in 2008, we stumbled upon the fact that a third of mankind did not have access to electricity. And that was the moral foundation to creating Bboxx and using technology to uplift people from energy poverty. And we've been on that journey ever since. I'm really proud to say that today we are 3,000 people strong. We are united by a single purpose of providing access to products and services to underserved communities across Africa. We are operating in 11 markets, and today we have close to 3 million people that are being powered by Bboxx. We started realizing that we are so much more than a utility. We do more than electricity, we do more than gas, we do more than water. We actually become a super platform. A super platform is that combination of the physical highway. These are the shops, the technicians, the logistics drivers, etc. And we also have a digital highway that is actually managed by the Pulse, the operating system, enabled by that customer trust that's created by initial products and service. In our case, the access to electricity, access to water, access to clean cooking. That allows additional products and services to be actually distributed using that relationship that we have. 11 out of the 17 SDGs are solved by having access to electricity at home. It has a transformative impact at the household level. People are going from darkness to light, to having education, from having no information to access to information. We're really a global organization at Bboxx. In Europe, we have our design and engineering activity. In Asia, we have our assembly and manufacturing activity. In Africa, we have distribution and customer service. The really exciting thing about Africa is that it's the most innovative place on earth. These are clients and customers that are choosing to go solar, are choosing to do clean cooking, are choosing to get water in a sustainable way, choosing to get internet from us and smartphones from us. The very first customers on earth using power in a decentralized way are choosing decarbonized solutions. At the same time, they're becoming digital customers as well. It's really a conversation about how do we want to live as citizens on this planet. Part of saving the planet is about making choices better. The Bboxx mission is a very simple one, but an extremely important one. We want to transform people's lives by unlocking their potential, by providing those essential products and services.
Great, so that's the marketing version. I shaved that day, as you noticed. And I try to sound more precise, etc. But that is just the marketing side. Now I want to speak about reality. How do we break this down? How we combine this journey, etc. So there are some really smart people around the world that really thought about how do we make the world a better place? What are those things that need to be done? And what they did was that they combined these sort of challenges into 17 key challenges. This is what's called the Sustainable Development Goals. So everything from gender equality to cleaning up the ocean to be able to have access to electricity. So the fact that the SDGs are telling us what are the important topics is a good guiding pillar. And I want you to remember that throughout the talk, right? That as you think about your own ideas, etc., which one of the 17 pillars will your idea or your future business fall into? Because every single of these 17 pillars are enormous potentials for innovation, business, etc. And also, as I go through my own story, and this is really just to make sure that you are equipped with the mindset, not about listening about myself, because I'm just now a boring old person now. It's about you guys. How do you think about starting your own company? Like, what is the recipe that you want to do to be able to create that? Just think about those two things as I walk through my own story as well, and hopefully that brings a little bit of enlightenment to you. So, how did this whole thing start? Right now, it might look like a pitch-perfect situation. We have in 11 countries, 3,000 employees, millions of customers, and all that kind of fun stuff. Here's the truth. I was a really lazy student. And at our university, I was studying in London, and we had a really evil university, one of those universities where the library works 24/7. So it was a Thursday, I remember, because I had an exam the following day on a Friday. It was 4 a.m. in the morning, and I was not studying. I was doing everything else but studying in the library. I stumbled upon this advert in a Time magazine, a famous magazine, and the advert was about Rolex, the watch company. And it said that it had given an award to an entity, a grant to an entity in Nepal to provide electricity to that community. And there's one sentence in there that shocked me, which was that 1.6 billion people around the world did not have access to electricity. This is back in 2008. And I thought to myself, I'm an electrical engineering student studying in a fancy place, and how come I don't know about this, right? Like, how is it that so many people just don't lack electricity? And the more I thought about it, I was like, shit, electricity is so fundamental to ensuring an acceptable quality of life. I got obsessed. There's all I could talk about with my friends. It's like, guys, like people don't have electricity. So I just kept on, and I got confused. Why is it? Is it a policy issue? Is it a technology issue? What the hell is it that prevents so many people from having electricity? So that was my emotional moment. People fall in love by looking at one glance, and other people find inspiration of God, etc. This was my moment of purpose. I'm like, shit, 1.6 billion people don't have electricity. What the hell can I do about it? It's really, really depressing. I can't live with myself if I don't try to solve it somehow in one way or another. So that was my emotional awakening. And I really encourage you guys to find your own one day as well. So as an engineer, I really thought about it from a perspective, like, what are the technologies that exist in 2008, right, that didn't exist before? So I started writing it down. I'm like, The IoT, Internet of Things, was really new. Smartphones was really new. iPhone was just launched a year before, right? So, and phone networks were growing rapidly across Africa, or across the world rather. Batteries and solar panels were getting cheaper. So I thought to myself, what if I could install solar panels and batteries in people's homes and make them pay using their mobile phone? When they pay, the system turns on. When they don't pay, the system turns off. That was the grand inspiration of the time. And I knew my answer at that point was relevant because the technologies I'm talking about did not exist a year or 2 years before that. And if you think about yourself today, at the moment, there's so many new technologies that are available, so many new technologies that are available that never existed. Like we just heard this morning about AI. Oh, sorry. I'm clearly, there we go. I'm clearly clicking without looking. So there's so many technologies that are available today that didn't exist before. We talked about AI. I think there's talks later about regenerative meat production, all sorts of cool new things that can be applied in combination to solve some of the biggest problems that exist. So how does the company become a company? The first thing I did was to be able to actually convince my fellow students as electrical engineers to actually start a charity organization. We called it Equinox back in the day, right? So this charity organization was about to try to bridge the classroom learning and the real world problem. So we got together and we convinced ourselves that we have something to add. And we picked a country in Africa. And the way we picked the country in Africa, we looked on the map of Africa, quite literally, and looked at the middle. In the middle, there was a country called Rwanda, because none of us had any real connection there. So we started Googling, emailing people, and finally found a few students at the local university in Rwanda to partner with. And the result of that was that we managed to raise a bit of money and provide electricity to 60 households during the summer of my third year being an electrical engineering student at university. So the fact that a group of students could come together, get inspired by a problem, develop a solution, raise some money, implement a project was such a big motivational, boost, right? That I hope that many of you guys get the chance to experience. And the friendships I made there are friendships that have stayed on. I'll explain that a little bit more detail as well. Then we started scaling. We're like, okay, now we have provided 60 people with households. And by this time, we had already graduated from university and we started the business called Bboxx. This is my first production assembly in Rwanda. So after studying 4 years of electrical engineering, I spent 12 hours a day cutting cables, gluing components together, and we ran out of the national supply of glue in Rwanda. Which was a great feat in some ways. I felt like we're making a dent in the economy by the fact that so many people don't have it. And it was really, really humbling at the same time as well. And we didn't have much money. We were trying to make the products, trying to find the mix. And of course, we started running out of money as well. So this is one of my favorite episodes in the company's life. This is us in China trying to source products. And we realized we don't have money anymore. We were like 5 people in the company at this point. We had no money left for hotels, just enough for food. So we actually asked our manufacturer, one of the people that we bought equipment from, can we sleep on their office floor? And they kindly agreed to it. So we spent 1 month sleeping on the office floor of this Chinese solar manufacturing company. And we used, they had this shower which is used for hazard, if you get chemical in your eyes or stuff like that. So we used that hazard shower as our shower. But the level of commitment that creates, it's immense. And the friendships that you create and the sort of the style of operation, it becomes quite exciting. But our fortunes turned. We started building teams. We managed to get the products rolling. We managed to get things operational. We found that right product market fit. We got those connections, those trust, those simple things that are needed. That thing of having your first customer, the thing about having someone to really believe in what you're trying to do. And we started growing the teams. And for me, I was mentioning this last night as well. For me, the most exciting thing about building a company is really building teams. And today, the fact that we have 3,000 people that are employed on a mission of providing access to electricity is so inspirational to me on a daily basis, right? That the fact that people from that humble beginning are willing to actually go through the whole cycle as well. And then it's all about getting your hands dirty. And I think that's part of the entrepreneurial story that people often miss. It's not about like winning a lottery ticket, right? We went from households to household, installed system, messed things up, things failed, people got angry, we redid it, we reinstalled, all of these things, and at the same time, building our network and our experiences across Africa. And honestly, this is the power of youth. The fact that you are the only one that are really able to have the time, the flexibility to do things like that. Today, as a married man, it's very difficult for me to travel around 12 countries going from rooftop to rooftops, but when I was 22, I could, right? And this is the really thing that you have is a flexibility in time that is often not possible to do later on as well. And then we grew. Across 11 countries in Africa. And my proudest achievement today is that in the country where we started, Rwanda, 15% of all households in the country we provide electricity to. So it all started as a silly, lazy activity in a library, as an obsession about trying to get people excited in terms of a problem that we want to solve. And it grew to a company, and it grew to something that millions and millions of people rely on. And I am dead sure, if you think again about the SDGs, if you think about the different elements of new technologies, there are many people in this room today that can have even greater impact than what I was lucky enough to be able to experience. Then I wanted to stay young in mind, and I was getting concerned that the business is starting to work a little bit too comfortably, as I thought. I was mistaken clearly, and I wanted to pick a new problem. And the problem that I found, my big moral new dilemma, was that where does all of these minerals that we need in batteries, that we need in solar panels and electronics and electric vehicles come from? Actually, a lot of the minerals come from mining. Right? And those mining happens in places like Africa, right? And it's still a lot of paper and pen, human abuse, corruption, all sorts of stuff. So I had a friend that showed me how diamonds, one of the biggest industries in the world, how it actually gets traded. This is the official documentation of how a diamond from a mine gets distributed. It's a bunch of rocks, and against it a paper and pen notification. I'm like, surely this is a very terrible way. And everyone has seen movies like know about blood diamonds and corruption issues around those sort of issues. So I was like, how can I try to solve this? So what we did was that I created a new team and invested in it to be able to actually solve another big problem around sustainable access to critical minerals that are required in the energy access space. So in Rwanda now, my home turf now, we are becoming one of the largest exporters of tin. So tin, and it's sustainably and ethically mined, and tin is in everyone's pocket right now. It's the solder in the phones, the touch screen that you use, all of that uses tin as a component to be able to do as part of the energy transition as well. And again, using new technology. The new technology that we used was blockchain to be able to combine blockchain with modern apps so that we could trace and track from the mine all the way to the end consumer, how does that product move? And to be able to incorporate financial mechanisms so that people get paid fairly and transparently throughout the chain. So in other words, doing ethical business and good business is not only just innovative, but people like it. There's a lot of people that want to have a new solution, but people don't have it. And by combining these elements together, one can again try to solve things. And I could not have created this company 10 years ago because the technology around blockchain, around smartphones and apps, etc., did not exist back then. And this is exactly the opportunity why I managed to create it today and not 5 years ago. And again, think about your own sort of challenges as well. This is just sort of a fancy show-off, but the fact that we can track QR codes on each bag of tin, so we can trace it all the way from the mine to an electric car. Right? And that level of traceability, I am sure as a consumer, as we think about sustainability, we're also thinking about where do things come from. And this is my big bet around this business as well. The other thing as a young people, I also want to tell you is make money. Right? So not only is all of this stuff fun, but you can also make a significant amount of money as well. And that money gives you freedom to do new things, invest in new things, grow, etc. And you should never be shy about wanting to make money. I think that's something that people don't talk enough about in entrepreneurship, is that the motive of trying to make money from doing good. And that is one of the biggest drivers. For me, like, this is a crazy picture, because it's the first time we did diamonds, and diamonds look really ugly in my opinion. This is the raw form of it before it's polished. That hand is $85,000. I'm like, give me another handful. So the fact that you can combine good with improving people's life and also making personal improvements at the same time as well, so that knowledge, that experience that you gather, you can actually grow to the next level. And the last thing I want to say before I shut up, and I am at 0.3 seconds left, is friendships. All of the things I've just told you guys about is the fact that you cannot build things alone. It's all about being able to find those trusted friends that you do. And I was very lucky in that. If you look at these pictures, you will find a few people that stretch over a 12-year period, right? That I found as a university student. They became my friends. We became business partners. We grew businesses together. We grew the teams. We were able to grow new relationships, etc. So the social element of making a business, combining that with a purpose. And there is no stronger link between humans, in my personal opinion, than the link of purpose. And if you have a purpose-led company, a truly purpose-led company, you will find that people are willing to sleep on floors, are willing to do new things, take risks that otherwise are not possible. And this is really my wish for all of you, that you guys find your true calling, whatever that emotional thing is. For me, was that map of 1.6 billion people, that thing that makes your calling. That you actually look around you in your room here and wherever you guys are sitting, your future business partners, your future friends might be sitting next to you. That was my case, right? And if you can combine those few things, right, you can create something so extraordinarily big. If someone told me 12 years ago I would be standing here today telling other people about what to do and how to scale up, it's an unimaginable reality. But this is a reality that everyone here in the room is possible to do. And this is my biggest wish to you guys. And I hope that from the version of the polished story, which sometimes feels very unachievable, to the reality in the background, everyone sees that this sort of story is approachable and achievable for every single person in this room and wherever you guys are. So thank you for listening to me. I hope that made somewhat sense. Thank you.